Hello guys, Park is getting ready to share with us Numbers 14.
That night all the members of the community raised their voices and wept aloud. All the Israelites grumbled against Moses and Aaron, and the whole assembly said to them, "If we only had died in Egypt or in this wilderness, why is the Lord bringing us to this land only to let us fall by the sword? Our wives and children will be taken as plunder. Wouldn't it be better for us to go back to Egypt?" And they said to each other, "We should choose a leader and go back to Egypt." Then Moses and Aaron fell face down in front of the whole Israelite assembly gathered there. Joshua son of Nun and Caleb son of Jephunneh, who were among those who explored the land, tore their clothes and said to the entire Israelite assembly, "The land we passed through and explored is exceedingly good. If the Lord is pleased with us, he will lead us into that land, a land flowing with milk and honey, and give it to us. Only do not rebel against the Lord, and do not be afraid of the people of the land, because we will devour them. Their protection is gone, but the Lord is with us. Do not be afraid of them." But the whole assembly talked about stoning them. Then the glory of the Lord appeared at the tent of the meeting to all Israelites. The Lord said to Moses, "How long will these people treat me with contempt? How long will they refuse to believe in me, in spite of all the signs I have performed among them? I will strike them down with a plague and destroy them. Plague and destroy them. But I will make you into a nation greater and stronger than they." Moses said to the Lord, "The Egyptians will hear about it by your power. You brought these people up from among them, and they will tell the inhabitants of the land about it. They have already heard that you, Lord, are with these people, and that you, Lord, have been seen face to face, and that your cloud stays over them, and that you go fire by night. If you put all these people to death, leaving none alive, all the nations who have heard this report about you will say, 'The Lord has not able to bring this people to the land he promised them on oath, so he slaughtered them in the wilderness.' Now may the Lord's strength be displayed as you have declared. The Lord is slow to anger, abounding in love, and forgiving sin and rebellion. Yet he does not leave the guilty unpunished. He punished the children for the sin of the parents to the third and fourth generation. In accordance with your great love, forgive the sin of these people, just as you have pardoned them from the time they left Egypt until now." The Lord replied, "I have forgiven them as you asked." 21. Nevertheless, as surely as I live and as surely as the glory of the Lord fills the whole earth, not one of those who saw my glory and the signs I performed in Egypt in the wilderness, but who disobeyed me and tested me 10 times, not one of them will ever see the land I promised on oath to their ancestors. No one who has treated me with contempt will ever see it, but because my servant Caleb has a different spirit and follows me wholeheartedly, I will bring him into the land he went to, and his descendants will inherit it. Since the Amalekites and the Canaanites are living in the valleys, turn back tomorrow and set out towards the desert along the route to the Red Sea." The Lord said, "Moses and Aaron, how long will this wicked community grumble against me? I have heard the complaints of these grumbling Israelites. So tell them, as surely as I live, declares the Lord, I will do to you the very thing I heard you say. In this wilderness your body will fall. Every one of you 20 years old or more was counted in the census, and who has grumbled against me. Not one of you will enter the land I swore with uplifted hand to make your home, except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, son of Nun. As for your children, you said that you would be taken as plunder. As plunder. I will bring them in to enjoy the land you have rejected. But as for you, your bodies will fall in this wilderness. Your children will be shepherds here for 40 years, suffering for your unfaithfulness, until the last of your bodies lies into the wilderness for 40 years, 1 year. For each of the 40 days you explore the land, you will suffer for your sins and know what it is like to have me against you. I, the Lord, have spoken, and I will surely do these things to this whole wicked community which has banded together against me. They will meet their end in this wilderness. Here they will die. So the men Moses had sent to explore the land who returned and made the whole community grumble against him by spreading a bad report about it. These men who were responsible for spreading the bad report about the land were struck down and died of a plague before the Lord. Of the men who went to explore the land, only Joshua of Nun and Caleb, son of Jephunneh, survived. When Moses reported this to all the Israelites, they mourned bitterly. Early the next morning, they set out for the highest point in the hill country, saying, Now we are ready to go up to the land the Lord promised. Surely we have sinned. But Moses said, Why are you disobeying the Lord's command? This will not succeed. Do not go up, because the Lord is not with you. You will be defeated by your enemies. For the Amalekites,
go ahead.
And the Canaanites will face you there, because you have turned away from the Lord. He will not be with you, and you will fall by the sword. Nevertheless, in their persecution, they went up towards the highest point in the hill country, though neither Moses or the ark of the Lord's covenant moved from the camp. Then the Amalekites and the Canaanites who lived in that hill country came down and attacked them and beat them all down. And attacked them and beat them down all the way to Hormah. Footnotes.
Okay, that's good. All right. Can you summarize what you just read? You don't need to, when you summarize, don't look at it again. Just tell me, if you saw me as a stranger and you want to tell me what you just read, what would you say to me in your own words?
That people didn't listen to God and said they was going to do something anyway. And then when they did, God didn't go with them because he didn't tell them to do that.
Okay. Who was the person that God used to instruct the people?
Moses.
Did the people listen to Moses?
No.
Did everybody listen?
No.
Did anybody listen?
Yes.
How many men listened?
3? No, not 3. I don't think it said that.
It was Joshua and Caleb. So how many is that?
2.
Very good. But then, did the people get afraid?
Yes. No.
Did they get afraid when they heard the news that somebody said this is a scary place to go?
No.
Are you sure? Okay, let's stop and think, because I don't want to ask you too much at one time. I need you to think about it. Once they told them that the good land had grapes and pomegranates and figs.
Sorry.
Once they realized that, then the other men said, we're going to be looking like what? Grasshoppers. But God said, I'm sick of y'all. Y'all been complaining for how many years?
40.
how many years? I mean, how many times? I'm sorry, it's my fault.
10.
10. So they searched the land how many days?
40 days.
40 days. So God said, for every day, I'm going to make you suffer how many years in all?
40.
40. So one day you suffered, you will suffer 1 year. But God said, no, you left here 40 days and looked around and saw that good stuff. And then came back and lied to the people and said that I brought you to a land that was no good. God said, no, I'm not having that. Not this time. I won't destroy you, but I'm going to make you do what?
Gonna make you have 40 years.
Right, to remember. And what's going to happen to the people that's 20 and up?
They're gonna die.
And then the ones that's 19 and down is what?
They're gonna stay in the promised land.
They're going to stay in the promised land? Not yet. They are going to go to the promised land, but they got to stay in the wilderness until their parents die or the older people die. And then they'll come out within 40 years later. That's a long time, right? So it's best to just do what?
Just listen to God.
And do what?
Read the word.
And what does God want you to do once you read the word?
Summarize.
He wants you to obey it. He said, read the word, see what I'm telling you to do, and then go do it. If not, you're not going to like it. Okay. Anything else you want to say?
No.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Miss Parker sharing time in the Word with her grandmother. Tell them bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us.